Hi everyone. Welcome to Living Well, 10-minute tips to a healthier you in the new year. This is our second episode. I'm Sandra Grenzi, Family and Community Health Sciences Educator for Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Hunterdon County. If you joined me last week, we started off our series by talking about resolutions, goals, and intentions. And we discussed that often resolutions are not so successful because we either make them to be too vague or too difficult, and as we go forward, if we can't achieve whatever goal or resolution that we set, we get discouraged. And once we become discouraged, then we have a downward spiral of not being able to achieve whatever we said we wanted to achieve. So an example that we used last week was an individual who might be new to exercise, new to physical activity, but they set an intention. And remember, an intention is different than a resolution in that an intention really speaks to the why, the purpose of what you want to accomplish. Do you want to be healthier? Do you want to be stronger? Do you want to enjoy life and travel more? So an intention is sort of your inner desire, your inner coach, and the resolutions and goals are specific things that we want to achieve due to our intentions. So we had a person who was not very physically active, who had set a very difficult goal of running a 5K in the new year. It would be helpful at that point to establish an action plan. So how are we going to move our good intentions forward to actually achieve the goals that we want to achieve, the more specific behaviors and goals that we want to achieve? So today we're going to be discussing one really great tool, which is setting an action plan. Setting an action plan that works for you. So we can define an action plan as sort of a strategic plan for you, for whatever you want to do. It should give you clear direction on how to accomplish what you want. Ideally, it should have a step-by-step process. So you start small and then you build on the small steps and make them into larger steps. One of the tools that we use in action planning is writing down or journaling what we want to accomplish. And that makes it more real to us. We can keep it in front of us, refer to it, and it helps us to stay focused. But a good action plan should also be flexible because, as we know, many unforeseen things come up. No matter how good our intentions are, something can come up and that can derail you if you don't allow yourself some flexibility to adapt to whatever those conditions are. And very importantly, the action plan is your plan. It needs to start with something that you really want to do, something that's important to you. So in today's exercise, I'm going to be using the example that we use in the Stanford Chronic Disease Self-Management Series. That's an excellent program, 6-week program that is geared to help people with various chronic diseases make healthy lifestyle changes to better manage their conditions. And one of the tools in that toolbox that we learn to use is the action plan. So we'll be using that as our example today, and I give lots of credit to Stanford for designing that great tool. So what makes up a good action plan? How can we construct a good action plan? Well, number one, it should be something that you want to do. Now, that sounds sort of like a given, but in reality, some of the things that we start to do, maybe because other people tell us that we should do it, or somebody's nagging us to do it, or things we even know we should do, We know we should do them. But right now, in the moment, where we are, it may not be something that we really want to do. So in general, the more we want it, the greater the chance we will achieve it. So number one, an action plan has to be something, or should be something, that you want to do. It needs to be action specific, not loosey-goosey. It needs to show a specific thing that you want to work on, that you want to do. And it also answers the questions that we have here in our chart. What specifically will you be doing? How much will you do? When will you do it? And what's your confidence level of doing it? So on a confidence scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not very confident that I can do it, all the way up to 10, I'm super confident that I can do it. When we set an action plan, it's really good to make sure that whatever you are stating, you are at least a 7 on the confidence scale. So why do we want to not set an action plan where we're down at a 2 or 3? Because the likelihood, if we feel we can't accomplish it, if we honestly feel we are not confident, there is less likelihood that we will actually achieve it. But if we're super confident, so if we're a 7, an 8, or a 9, or a 10, there's a much greater likelihood that we can accomplish whatever that task is. Okay, so let's get back. Let's do an example so this can be more concrete for you in case you want to write your own action plans. So getting back to our person, we'll use the example of physical activity again. Our individual had an intention of feeling healthier, feeling better, feeling stronger, and being able to do more things. And they had a long-term goal of running in an organized 5K race. Okay, so now, how do we move our intention, move it along, so that we can achieve that long-term goal? So here's an example of what many people will typically do. They will start an action plan that says, I will walk every day for an hour, or I will run half an hour every day. Now, once again, those are very noble statements, very noble goals, but when you think about it, when you're really honest with yourselves, what happens the first day that you can't? Or what happens if you can't run an hour or walk an hour and you haven't been physically active? So how realistic is it to go from 5 minutes of walking or running to an hour, and then to say that you are going to be able to do that every day? So that really, those statements are a little bit unrealistic and may not be a good plan for you to follow, because guaranteed there will be, early on, there will be days when you just can't achieve that. And then when you don't, your confidence level falls, or if you miss a day, you miss 2 days, or you're so sore that you can't go back out, then we all know it gets harder and harder to start up again. So let's construct an action plan that might be more helpful and more achievable for us. So I will walk, and now I ask myself the question, what's a reasonable amount of distance or time for me to walk from where I am right now? So let's say that individual said, okay, I think I can do 20 minutes. Okay, I will walk 20 minutes. Now, the next part, when and how much? I will walk 7 days a week. You know, when I'm honest with myself, that seems just really not very doable, because I haven't been doing any regular walking. So let me ask myself, what do I think I can accomplish? So 2 to 3 times a week. Let's start with that. So I will walk 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. Now let's even get more specific. Let's drill it down and be even more specific. When? What days of the week work best for you? Well, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, let's say. Because I know that on Tuesdays and Thursdays I have a late schedule, and I know I'm not going to do it on Sunday, so those 3 days seem to work best for me. Okay, so I'm using what I know about myself to set an action plan that is hopefully going to work for me. So 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Let's even get more specific. What time during the day? So if you were tied up at work until 6:30 at night and it's dark when you get home, saying after work, or saying 5 o'clock or 5:30 or 8 p.m., that may not be, a reasonable target for you. So let's say for this individual, right after work at 5 o'clock seems to be the best time. So in summary, we change the statement from I will walk every day for an hour, every day, so that's 7 days a week, to I will walk 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week, specifically on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays because they work best for my schedule, and specifically right at 5 o'clock when I get in the door, I'll put my sneakers on and I'll go right outside. And now the final check is, what's my confidence level? How confident am I that I can accomplish what I just said? So nobody can tell you this. This is an inner decision that you have to make, and you should be honest with yourself. So I hope it's a 7, an 8, a 9, or a 10. What happens if after all that stating of the action plan, in reality, you can only give it a 5? You're being honest with yourself, a 5. So what does that tell you? Well, that suggests that you're not confident enough and that there's something in what you constructed that probably needs to be adjusted. So if you were a 5, what would make it a 7? Only you can answer that. So in our example, let's say, maybe 3 times a week is just too much. Let me start with 2. So I will do Monday and Wednesday, and that brings me to a confidence level of a 7 or an 8. Who knows? That's up to you to decide. So in review, the more specific that you can be, the clearer it will be to you exactly what you have to do. And the other bonus about that is you will know when you have been successful in achieving it. It's measurable. You can count the number of days a week that you did walk. You can count the number of minutes. And it's really important to have your action plan be achievable and measurable. So when let's say it gets pretty easy for you to do that and you're ready to say, okay, I've mastered 2 days a week. I'm ready to add that 3rd day. And then you just reconstruct your action plan and keep moving forward. And at some point for our individual, maybe this person will say, I've been walking, I've been increasing my pace, my action plan has been adjusted. Maybe now I'm ready to add short intervals of slow running. Maybe 1 time a week to start. So that's how you build on an action plan. And ultimately, with being flexible but being motivated, you will achieve your larger goal. And in this case, it was running that 5K. So action planning can be used in any aspect of our lives. It's not limited to just health behaviors. We can use it to tackle any goal that we want to achieve. So I really hope you give it a try. On my website, I actually have a nice little worksheet that allows you to write in the statements for each of these sections of your action plan. So I will post, when we send this video post around, I will post the link to the Hunterdon County, Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Hunterdon County website, and make sure that you can navigate to that link if you're interested in using that tool. So I hope you found that useful. I really find that to be one of the most important skills in helping people to make behavior changes. Next week, our topic is, how do we know when information is reputable on the internet or in other resources that we stumble upon? Is there a way for us to tell? So join me next week. I promise it won't take more than 10 minutes, and I'll see you then.